Even after all these years, classical music is breaking new ground in the city of Winnipeg. A string quartet will be darkening the ground of the Garrick Hotel Bar this weekend to share a story of mystery just in time for Halloween. The Lost Violin of Sherlock Holmes is a musical concept by violinist Clair Tang that will guide audiences through the disappearance of a priceless instrument. Clair Tang joins us in the Classic 107 studios this morning alongside cellist Natanielle Felicitas to tell us more. Nice to see you both.
Hello, good morning.
So maybe I'll start with you here, Claire. Where did this idea come from in the first place?
Actually, it came from the owner, Gary. He contacted me a while ago, and he said, Claire, I've seen you playing on Instagram, and I really like your playing. It seems like you're playing different genres, and I'm planning to hold a show, a classical show, but in a bar. He sent a really long email. He said, I sent a lot of emails to different people, but no reply. So you're my last try. So if you are not going to reply, I'm not going to try anymore. Actually, I found the idea very interesting because you're not just playing classical music, but playing classical music in a different location. So right away I said, yes, I'm interested. And also, I was, I was working with Nat and the other two members, Will and Chelsea. We were playing weddings together as a string quartet. I was like, maybe we can just do that together.
So that's really interesting to approach this as a dynamic of the venue, a non-typical sort of classical music venue, approaching the musicians and saying, I've got this idea for a classical music gig at a bar, which has become more in vogue in recent years. But usually it's the musicians who are approaching the venue for something like this, maybe not the other way around. What has that dynamic been like to work with here, Claire, with a management group that is very so gung-ho about this idea? What does that enthusiasm show you about the way that classical music can play a role here in the city of Winnipeg?
I came to Winnipeg 3 years ago, actually, from China. I actually play a lot of different genres in China. So in here, when I saw a lot of musicians, of course, there's so many musicians here. I really love the environment here. People were, focused on their styles. Of course, like I've seen people playing different styles. One person playing jazz or pop or metal. Like different genres. And I think, like usually for someone who's playing different genres, they would want to try different locations, different ways to play something different. Of course, like classical music, I've never seen someone playing classical music in a bar. On the way here, I was just talking to Nat about that. Nat said that she was playing a cello in different bars, but in contemporary music style, not in classical. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, like 90% of my work is in bars and venues where you normally see contemporary or pop or rock music. But I'm not playing classical music. So for me, like I actually haven't played the Garrick Hotel. So it's exciting for me. But this is my first time playing classical music in a bar instead of the pop and folk and rock that I'm always playing. Yeah.
Well, let's dive into that dynamic a little bit more in just a second. But like to have, again, that idea of a venue so excited about this. As you've been preparing this concert, Nat, what does that mean for the preparation process to know that there's this non-traditional sort of a venue that's advocating for a string quartet to be a part of its weekend entertainment?
I think Gary's like, he's breaking a mold for especially for his venue. I think he normally hosts rock or blues or jazz.
Yeah.
And I think it'll hopefully bring in a new clientele to his establishment. Even the set time, I would say, like a 9 p.m. show, is sort of outside of a classical tradition.
Right.
So
yeah, absolutely. It's a bit more,
this is for the night owls.
I was going to say it's a bit more for the blues hour, really, than anything else.
Yeah.
We've talked a couple of times with other interviewees here in the studios recently about how a space can also influence the way that musicians play. Given all of your work in different bars around the city here, Nat, I'm wondering when you're approaching playing a gig in the Garrick Hotel, how does that influence the way that you hold your cello, play your cello versus other sorts of spaces that you might perform in, regardless of the genre that takes you into all kinds of different places around town?
Yeah. I mean, well, for this one, we are you think about our acoustic instruments that were built and invented for acoustic spaces and churches and concert halls. But we're all going to be plugged in.
Yeah.
So it's the classical music, but we're going to be, using our pickups and amplifying it. So there is, that adjustment. And so the sound is different. And I think that always changes how we play when we're plugged in. There's the, you're not, the front row might get the actual resonance and acoustic sounds from our instruments itself, but then further back, so you are adjusting how you play, I'd say, for the room.
So throw into that dynamic the fact that you've got these acoustic instruments in a venue that's not necessarily designed for their peak amplification, but you're also, in the case of this concert, adding a story to what is going on here as well. What does the space, before we even get to the logistics of how the music helps to aid the story, how does the space enhance this idea of a mystery, Sherlock Holmes, come to life through music at the Garrick Hotel?
Still, that's Gary's idea. He was sending me an email with the story about Sherlock Holmes, about his lost violin. So Sherlock Holmes was trying to find his lost violin, and he saw someone playing the violin under the bridge, I think. And this story just goes with it. So we create a story ourselves that this lost violin was taken by a mysterious girl, and that's where the story starts. We're going to, find the girl, and this girl's music with this lost violin can take us to a time traveling. So we're going to, come from the 18th century, 19th century, and then straight go to the modern world, which that's when we start to play hip hop and metal and, different genres, non-classical genres.
Right, of course. So then how does the music that audiences will hear on Saturday night enhance that story? How will the music help to get people swept up in this lost violin, this lost Stradivarius, not even just a violin, like the violin? How does the music enhance that experience for the audience?
I'm going to read the story, actually. I already have the script. I'm going before every song, I'm going to tell them the background story and also the mood towards this music, so it can be connected. And also, we're going to have some, not only the sound effect, we're going to have the lighting factor about that, so people can feel that, it is different. I'm not going to tell what's going on, but it's going to be cool.
Wow. Okay.
Interweaving the story between the musical pieces and
So then let's get, so without giving too much away, because obviously people are going to have to show up to see the full breadth of this concert. What kinds of music, we've touched on this a little bit, but maybe what kinds of string quartet pieces can people expect to hear?
I'll let Claire answer that, because she's put together a really great program.
You've been the one putting together the program. Okay, what do we got?
Well, music, we actually have quite a lot of different styles, of course, but we do have some classical ones like Tchaikovsky's Cantabile Andante. That was I think that's the most classical one here, right? And then we have Nausian, which is
I love
still.
That piece.
I mean,
Satie,
me too. It is so. I don't know. Just I don't know. If you feel lonely and a little dark after that, but like it is still. I think it's still kind of in classical genre. And we have some traditional folk music. There's a song called Bessarabian Girl. It's a traditional folk song. That's the girl who stole the violin, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, you already know the answer.
Giving away the endings, goodness.
We have different ones, and also we have some originals. The reason why we have originals is because when Garrick contacted me, he said that we're gonna have Sherlock Holmes themed. And I was searching online for so long, I only found two music for string quartet. I was like, no, this is not gonna happen. So I was trying to write down, listen to different versions. I write down music myself for the string quartet, but apparently it took too long. I had so many sleepless nights, and I realized, no, it's not the way, how I'm gonna do it. But I realized that all our members, we know how to improvise. And then I was like, why do I just make it easier? I'm gonna write a theme, and I'm going to write a chord progression, and everybody have a space to improvise. So not only we're playing classical music, we're actually improvising, not only in classical style, we're also improvising in hip hop and different styles.
So many different elements coming together in this program, and then that, of course, is just one facet of your musical lives, both Claire and Nat, in the city of Winnipeg. Putting together a program like this, Nat, what do you take away from this experience into the rest of your playing?
For me, again, as I said, most of my work is in the folk, pop, and rock world.
Yeah.
And often when I'm brushing up my classical rep, it's for a wedding or background music.
Yeah.
So working with Claire and Will and Chelsea has been like really rewarding for me, just because I can get back to my classical roots. I'm back to my classical roots, but in the comfort of this bar setting.
Yeah, right.
Because that's where that's where I feel at home.
The usual place that you live.
Yeah.
What does this kind of a gig do for you, Claire, for the rest of the concerts that you play around the city of Winnipeg? What do you take from this experience of writing your own themes, of providing opportunities for improvisation into the rest of your musical life?
Well, first, writing improvisation is so much easier. That's for sure. Yeah, and then I like different genres. So, like, it is a really good opportunity for us to not only show our playing and also show some of my work and also our passion of improvisation and our thought. Because I think improvisation is kind of like chatting with the audience, like not preparing for a speech. It's like chatting with them. So it's more casual, but it's not really casual since we're doing in classical genre. So yeah, that's quite interesting. Yeah,
Totally.
I would like to, I like trying different things.
Yeah. Audiences will be trying a very different thing this weekend as well. And I would imagine, given the venue, that there are going to be people who have never encountered maybe classical music, certainly not in this realm. And maybe I'll pose this question to the both of you, but I'll start with you here, Claire, to say, for the first timer, the person who's never seen a string quartet in action before, what do you hope they take away from this performance?
Well, I hope that they will enjoy the music connected to the story, because most of the time when we listen to music, not only just the classical music without any lyrics, we don't know what's going on, or most of the time we don't know what's going on. So with the context of the story, or with the background, music and the story together, I hope that they can feel what the music is about. So like, for example, Tchaikovsky, every time I hear that, I picture a very beautiful scenery, and I hope the audience can hear that too with the story provided.
Yeah. What about for you, Nat? What do you hope that the first timer, they're sitting in the front row, maybe they're like, I mean, my friend brought me, I don't know what's going on. What do you hope that they take away?
Yeah, I think Claire really nailed that one. Like, it's having that story, even just text, like she'll be speaking the story. I feel like it's going to be accessible, interesting. I don't know, good introduction to the classical fare, and then a relaxed setting. Like, you can get up and get your drink at the bar. You don't have to. You don't have to be, so.
You don't have to sit so stock still
exactly.
in the chair.
Like, this is meant to be comfortable for the listener as well, and just pique interest. And there's so many emotions that we're going to be touching on within the music.
Blending the comfortable and the mysterious in The Lost Violin of Sherlock Holmes, which takes the stage on Saturday night at the Garrick Hotel Bar. The doors open at 8:30. The show starts at 9:15. We'll have a link to more information and to where to get your tickets up at our website later on today, classic107.com, and on the Classic 107 app. Clair Tang and Nat Felicitas, thank you so much for telling us more about The Lost Violin of Sherlock Holmes on Classic 107 today.
Thank you.
Thank you.